that was
So I don't work professionally with youth and with refugees or migrants, but I work with through the association. Yes, we find a lot of problems: integration, social, economic, cultural, legal. It's a big issue. It's very bureaucratic. Language, of course, and education. So settling in the new country brings a lot of challenges, of course, and for youth people it's more difficult because they go to school, they go to interact with other kids that sometimes they are mean, they are not acceptable, they don't want to fit in sometimes. So I think it is urgent that the youth people, the younger people, should have training, practical training. You know, what do you like? What do you want to do? And to have practical classes so they can fit in. I have in Portugal. I have a lot of Brazilian friends. It's common, Brazilians and Portuguese have a lot of Brazilian friends. And the big issue that they find is really the legal. That's my experience, most directly experience it with my Brazilian friends. And the big issue it's not the language, of course, because it's the same, but it's the legal because they spend a lot of time they have to go everywhere, they go to the zone B. The zone B, they say that they have to have a document from the zone A, then they go to the zone A and they say, no, you have first to get the document from the zone B and they go there. Yeah, it's a little complicated. And I think that legal assistance, it's very important.
I vote on you.
Legal assistance, it's very important. It's an issue. And that's it.
And we don't have many, but some students from immigrant families we do have, and they are not many of them stayed with their parents because I think for 6 people only one is with the parents, and the other ones were taken out of the families and put to the orphanages, sometimes temporary, to give the parents chance to integrate and to get them back. Sometimes they stay there till 18. Problems. Of course, there are problems. The first problem is with the language. Then there are mental and cultural differences and integration problems. They don't suit to the group, and the group doesn't really accept them. The solutions. Most of all, we should teach them the language so they can communicate with the others. Then they to do it very often they get like a personal teacher helper, who in the beginning teaches only language, but it is the closest person they can really trust, and when they have some problems they can go and talk to. The next level, I think, it would be learning the rules. At first group rules, then class rules, school rules, and then in the end the rules that are in this country that they came to accept and to follow them. And it is very important to build the openness and acceptance in the group they are, because it's not only that they have to change, but also people around them have to change to accept them and to take them in the group. From my experience, I wanted to say about one student. He's Polish. His mother is Polish. He's 9 and he was 2 when he came to Germany. And as I observed working, I worked there only from the last 1 year, but I observed that I am the person who somehow he obeys. I don't know if it is that he maybe feels that I am like his mother who speaks Polish too. So I am the person who. So he's not really obedient at school. He has very big problems with misbehavior. But when I talk to him in Polish, he is totally different than against the other teachers. And maybe that would be the way to somehow solve the problem between them, to give him the person who they will accept, to feel close, and somehow we have the same roots, and maybe this person can share, teach, lead them. Maybe it would be useful.
For sure.
I'm also working in an association for developing of voluntary work in Novo Mesto. As Nina mentioned before, most of our immigrants are based on the former Yugoslavia country. So who is our, I could say, populations? I don't have to speak a lot because she already said. Do we have some problems or challenges? Yes, and because I'm working the workshops with them that are based on the informatics. Regular problems with them are mostly not knowing English language or the Slovene language, which is like the base, and then we are trying, if they don't understand the Slovene language, trying in English, then English language becomes a problem. So we managed a solution there, like helping them with the kids from the same country or a little bit older, who will come and participate during the workshops, and we'll translate to them what are we doing. That is the thing that really helped me and also to them, because I can now see what their problems are, what their needs are in the field of informatics. For example, in the basic of programming, those are kids who are old from 7 to 13 or 14 years, and there is something that they will use for sure in the future. So it's not like they're 14 now and they have to integrate, there's another system for them. So I think that for the kids, this system is working pretty good. The other problem when I'm mentioning the language is that one, and that they are not learning that much Slovenian because probably it's not interesting to them. So we are developing a new strategy which will be kind of it obligatory thing, that you cannot be involved in those workshops that you are interested in if you're not going to the Slovene language, because that is the base for everything. So if we don't fix that problem, then we will continue having the problems during our other workshops. So that's a short one from me.
Hello. I really don't know what to say now because I'm the last one on the Slovenian group. I also work as a volunteer in an NGO in Novo Mesto. My experience is also with immigrants from ex-Yugoslavia, so Serbs, Albanians, Bosnians, and the main problem I see is our local community. They really don't want to see them. They are in Novo Mesto, and this number is very huge because they are workers, hard workers, and the local community doesn't really understand our NGO properly. They say they understand, but I think when you understand somebody, you have to pay him what he needs and give him enough space to have a daily center and everything this NGO needs. But the good thing is, so municipality and local community. As Nina also mentioned, that children who are coming from ex-Yugoslavia and Novo Mesto, they don't have, they have a language, they don't know the language, and even the teachers, when they accept them in the school, they really don't know for our NGO. There are still some teachers in Novo Mesto, and we said, don't you know about our daily center? No, we didn't heard. So we have to inform all the community about working in our NGO. So the daily center, supporting groups, for example, Albanian women, in their tradition is that they don't go out. If they go out to shop, they don't know Slovenian language. So we have a support group where they are teach Slovenian language, so they can go to shop and buy bread, things they need for cooking. But before husbands allow them to go, you have to talk to the husband. Why is she going to this support group to learn Slovenian language? So the solutions are these supporting groups in school. For example, my son was in grammar school, and he was supporting one boy who came from Bosnia. He was in his class, and I wrote my call the different sentences. How do you say it's lunchtime? I need this in Slovenian, and he translated him in Bosnian. So he was his communicator, and as Cheto said, involved the older pupils to help the young ones who come to school. The good thing in Novo Mesto is that we have a different cultural associations. So we have cultural association for Serbs, cultural associations for Croats, Bosnian, Albanian folk group, who's the child folk group, who's the only child folk group in Slovenia. So every time some Albanian, very important political man comes to Slovenia, this group from Novo Mesto goes and dance. I think that through the cultural activities, we can show them they are people just like us. We don't have to be afraid. There's nothing wrong, and we must include them. So my experience was, for example, the musical we made. I just remember it was Italian name because we have a traveling tour through Italy called Dove vai uomo. It means where are you going, man? And this was a musical where children who were traumatized after the war in Yugoslavia, in Bosnia, in Sarajevo, they were staging their emotions through poetry, dancing, and they had different teachers, artists, very well-known artists, Slovenian dance teacher, poetry teacher,
drama teacher.
Yes. And we made the musical and we had a tour through Italy, ex-Yugoslavia, and it was great. And we also Slovenian children were involved in this musical. So them and Slovenians, and they made friendships. The other experience I had is a poetry book made by young people who write poetry. Some of them, they can relate with the poetry, their experience, and we made through their language and translated in Slovenian and English.
Because